the victims are the Border Patrol agents. I'm not blaming the Border Patrol agents. The victim are the Border Patrol agents. The suspect put himself in that situation. The victims are the Border Patrol agents there.
What's up, Andy? How you
Not,
doing?
I'm good, buddy. It's kind of I dare I say, a good news night. I don't know. I feel like with all the bad stuff, you can't say it's good, but like there was a piece of good news tonight. Have you been paying attention to the news tonight?
No, not too much. Why?
Okay. I got a picture right off the bat to show you here. Check this out.
Greg Bovino loses his job.
Greg Bovino,
Yeah.
did he see? And they said earlier today that Tom Homan was going to Minnesota and Bovino was going to rotate out. And Bovino, like he's gone from city to city, so like he wasn't going to stay in Minnesota forever. Like he was going to eventually rotate to the next city. Is the way that I took it. That's what I understood what was happening to be.
What
Yes,
was his official position?
commander at large with the Border Patrol, and
What the fuck is that commander at large? Is that an actual
That's
title?
that's what they call it. But he was the head of Border Patrol. And
Okay.
today, when Carolyn Levitt said Tom Homan's going, but she never, it seemed that he was still commander of Border Patrol. He was just moving to the next city. Because I'm trying to think here. He was in L.A. He was in Charlotte at one point. Chicago. He caused a lot of problems in Chicago. So he's moved around a whole lot. So when they said he's going, that Homan's going in and he's leaving, I didn't think much of it. The Atlantic
What is
tonight.
Tom Homan's other position?
So Tom Homan is the border czar. Tom
Okay.
Homan had originally been in charge of ICE, and I don't know if he was the head of ICE, but he was with ICE. There's a whole, and I'm not the guy to really talk about it, but when Trump came in, he wanted ICE to be like thugs, to go around and do all the stuff that we're currently seeing. This is important, and I should clarify this, and I didn't realize this till after we recorded last time. There were no ICE agents present when Alex Preddy got unalived.
Oh,
There was not a single ICE agent there. That was all Customs Border Patrol (CBP). So they get conflated really easily. We're all using the term ICE, but a
yeah.
lot of what we're seeing is CBP. CBP is Greg Bavina's outfit. So now I'm not saying ICE is good. I'm just saying we're putting a lot of blame on ICE when a lot of it's not ICE. Is all I'm trying to say. But
Yeah. Yeah. And
Trump,
you know what? I was talking to a couple police officers last night, and they were saying that they work downtown like on Friday and Saturday night.
mm,
And they said that they get so much shit, people calling them ICE and like people telling them, don't shoot me or shoot me in the face or whatever. Like just people
yeah,
being complete assholes to them. And they're like, seem like decent gentlemen.
yeah, and that's it. There's a real big problem where it could be a problem if people start conflating what Customs and Border Patrol or ICE is doing with regular cops. Like
Yeah.
and like the National Guard. We're going to talk about the National Guard in a minute, but like with Tim Wall saying he's bringing in the National Guard, like that could go bad. Now you have, the protesters clashing with the National Guard. Luckily, he found a really good way to do it. I have a clip in a little bit for.
Mm.
But basically the head of ICE had a plan for how they were going to go after the worst of the worst, the bad hombres. And Trump and Stephen Miller probably most likely didn't like that plan. It wasn't going to be enough arrest. They turned to Greg Bovino at CBP and said, "Hey, this is the guy to get the job done. We want a confrontation. We want you to go to war with these cities, all this stuff." And Bovino was ready to do it. But also, Customs and Border Patrol is not supposed to operate more than 100 miles from the border. That's what's written in their
Oh,
guidelines or charter or whatever. So like Minneapolis, for example, is like almost 300 miles away from the Canadian border. Like they have no real right to be there, but who's going to stop them? But anyhow,
right.
Bavino, in this article by The Atlantic, it says Gregory Bavino has been removed from his role as Border Patrol Commander at Large and will return to his former job in El Centro, California, where he is expected to retire soon, according to a DHS official and two people with knowledge of the change. Bavino's sudden demotion is the clearest sign yet that the Trump administration is reconsidering its most aggressive tactics after the killing of Saturday of 37-year-old Alex Preddy by Border Patrol agents under Bavino's control. Um,
Well, it's sad that that two people have to die for us to actually get change made here.
I, I don't want to be the one to say this, so I feel I'm not saying this with both feet in. I'm kind of dipping one toe in, but like there's been a lot of people getting harassed and shot. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, it finally happened to a white man. I know this is a terrible thing to say, but like,
Yeah.
like it finally happened, and people are like, "What? He was a 37-year-old white man. Like that can't happen." And then suddenly there's the outrage. Like, had it kept happening to black and brown people, would there be? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out loud. Like I said, I don't feel fully confident in that. It's just it is interesting that the first time a
Yeah.
white man goes down,
Yeah.
I feel very liberal saying that. It's not that's not a normal me take, but I'm just saying it is.
Oh, you feel, huh? Okay.
Yeah. I don't. I,
You feel liberal saying that.
I feel
Interesting.
very lefty.
Okay.
That statement is further left than I normally am, but I do wonder about that. There's just a little bit of I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely, I mean, it's there. The
Yeah.
racism within the police department is there, and it has always been there
Well, I'm not even saying the
within
racism within the
forces.
police department. I'm saying the public reaction to it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like
There's racists in the public too.
it's just interesting. Well,
I
anyhow,
mean,
but Greg, and I'd love to see somebody confirm this, but supposedly he is no longer the commander at large for the Border Patrol. He's going back to where, I guess, to the border in El Centro, California, and he's expected to retire soon, which almost seems like he's getting off too easy. Like after everything that's happened, like he's just gonna skate into retirement, never to be seen again. Like I almost like don't like that. I want there to be consequences. Which I will say
yeah,
though, if we're talking like calming things down in the streets, we don't want the federal troops at war with these cities. Bovino's probably the best scalp to get at this point. Like Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller would be awesome, but that's not going to happen. So at
yeah,
this point, Bovino, like if Trump had to throw somebody under the bus, which it started to look like he was going to have to, and just in the past 2 days, Greg Abbott, the Texas governor, gave an interview where he was not supporting ICE, and he was saying Trump needs to step back, calm everything down, and reimagine how he's going to do this. The governor of Oklahoma, Kevin Stitt, went on CNN and gave a long interview and told them he's like, yeah, I'm not a fan of what ICE is doing. If they were doing this in my state, I'd be pissed. Like this is not what federalism, states' rights, and the governor
yeah,
of, I think the governor of Maine, who's a Republican, wasn't Maine, it was one of those states, came out with a long post about it. So, like, Republican governors, Republican senators, Bill Cassidy, and a couple others were all coming out and speaking out against what ICE is doing just in the past 24 hours. So, it became clear that, like, somebody had to go down for this. There was going to be a fall guy. And
yeah,
Bavino's that's a win for the left or for normies, I guess you would say. Like Bovino being gone is a good deal. Tom Homan's going to replace him. Tom Homan, I'm not going to say is a great guy or anything, but if you think back when Renee Good got shot 3 weeks ago, Kristi Noem and Bovino and Stephen Miller and JD and all them were coming out with she was a terrorist and she was trying to kill him and blah blah blah. Tom Homan went on, I think, CBS's morning show and sounded like the only adult in the room. He was like, listen, I'm not going to say what happened. This is the reason we have investigations. This should clearly be investigated. And he literally said the bare minimum, but compared to what all the other ones were saying, it was like, good job, Tom Homan. Like, way to
okay,
be reasonable. So
yeah, yeah. We knew. I mean, somebody's head was going to roll, and Bovino was probably the easiest one. But if Tom Homan is going to be more of an adult in the room when it comes to ICE, that's a win for the American people.
supposedly Tom Homan believes we should be doing really specifically targeted enforcement, looking for the worst of the worst, the bad hombres. And his whole thing is we're not going to have these crazy numbers that Trump wants to have. We are
Yeah,
going to get the bad ones as we can. We'll do it as fast as we can, but it's not going to be thousands a day like you want. The only way you get thousands a day is by going to Home Depot parking lots and rounding people up. Like
yeah.
that's so.
Day laborers. Yeah,
And I'll say this. I'm all for if there is an illegal immigrant in this country who has committed murder, rape, abuse, whatever, get him out of here. I love
yeah,
that. Most Americans love that.
yeah,
What's been happening for the last year under Trump is not that. So, yeah,
yeah.
if they do that, suddenly a lot of people will be happy with what immigration is doing. Right now, a good majority of the country is not happy with this.
No,
So,
they're gassing protesters. They're tear
it's
gassing protesters, killing protesters, tear gassing them, and like just causing chaos in the streets.
there's been a lot of analysis of this. I've been reading a lot of stuff, but I nobody's been able to prove that this is like written down in a handbook or this is being taught. But it seems if you watch, there's all these interactions kind of have the same theme to them. ICE comes up and like pepper sprays people from like a foot away. They put the can right in their face and cover their face in that orange pepper spray stuff.
That
And
stuff
then
sucks.
then they take him to the ground and they say, "Oh, he's resisting. He's resisting." Well, the guy's got his hands on his face because his face is burning because he just got
Yeah.
sprayed at point blank range. And then, he's resisting, and that's where you can start beating on them. The guy, Alex Preddy. So I'm gonna make this quick, but we had a soccer game for my kid tonight. I got to be around the soccer dads. One of them is a police officer, and I made it a point. I was like, I'm not gonna bring this up tonight in front of all the soccer dads. I'd love to talk to him one on one, but I'm gonna not bring it up. And luckily, one of the other dads brought it up to him. They're like, "Hey, what do you think of this shooting?" And he was like, I haven't really seen a whole lot about it. I know what people are saying, this and that. And I was trying so hard. I was like, I'm not gonna because most of them are much further right than me, and I was like, I don't want to start a fight here. And I was shocked. All the other dads, or three other dads, were describing it to him the way I would describe it to him. They were not a fan of this, and these are two of the three I'm sure are Trump voters. The third I'm not 100% on, but they were like, yeah, it was bullshit. Here's what we saw. So I was very thrilled about that.
Good.
Overall, I think Trump saw the writing on the wall that polling on this is terrible. Fox News even, and I didn't pull any of the clips, but Maria Bartiromo, Peter Doocy, a bunch of them were having Trump's people on and then flat out being like, you're saying he was trying to attack. We've seen the video. There was no attacking. So from all sides, people weren't buying their story this time. So he had to do something, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well,
but-
is that ICE officer going to get, or the Border Patrol agent, is he going to get any reprimand?
So Greg Bovino said that those two are still on the job. They've been moved out of state for their safety, but they're still working, which, I mean, that's kind of just eluding or fleeing federal or state authorities. Like, they're running from the law at this point. They'd love to get those two and interview them. And in almost, I want to say in every police agency, whether it be federal or local, if there is a shooting, there is a paid leave. Like, you go on a couple-day vacation because you just shot and killed someone. And even if it was totally justified, that's the policy, so you can get your head straight. Not these guys. These guys moved right on to the next thing. So anyhow, what I was saying a minute ago, their tactic, though, where they spray you in the face and then immediately say, "Oh, you're not complying. You're not putting your hands behind your back because you're trying to hold your face." That's their tactic. Ryan Grimm, who I bring up all the time because I love him, he's a good reporter. He got into it with Tim Pool on X, and they were going back and forth for a while. And he said it in a way that I just felt like he said it just right. So I'm going to read. This is an exact tweet from Ryan Grimm. "It would take superhuman composure to be sprayed repeatedly, slammed to the ground, and struck in the face with a maglite and not move your body in self-defense. If not moving is the only way to survive an encounter with federal agents who are beating you, a lot more Americans are going to be killed before you maniacs are swept from power." I thought that was exactly right. Like, Alex Preddy, and I was explaining this to the cop I was talking to tonight because he had, like I said, he hadn't really seen the video yet. But like, the second he went down, that cop came in on the front and started hitting him. And remember last time we were saying, was it a gun he was hitting him with? Turns out it was a mag light. It was like a police flashlight he was hitting him with. So the second he hit the ground, they start hitting him in the head. I didn't hear anybody in the video say, "Put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest." I didn't hear anything like that. But let's say they were telling him that. Let's say they were giving him lawful commands to put his arms behind his back and you're under arrest and this and that. You're hitting him in the face with a flashlight. Like Brian Grimm said, it would take superhuman composure to do that. And you just let yourself keep getting struck in the head with a flashlight. Like, your natural instinct, your reflexes are to protect your head when you're getting hit. So the tactics just suck, I'll say.
They suck. The whole thing sucks.
It's really bad. I feel bad, like we just said. Like, I feel bad because it's going to give all police officers a bad reputation, and it's not deserving. I know a lot of cops in my personal life, and they're all really good guys, and they'll be open. Like, I've had a cop I was talking to the other day that told me, he's like, "Oh yeah, I was working with this one other cop. He was a dick, total power trip, blah blah blah." And it's like, oh, so okay, he was willing to admit some cops have issues, which. Any line of work you go to, there's going to be some cool people. There's going to be a couple dicks. I don't care what job it is. Cops is being a cop is just like any other job. There's going to be some dicks. That's how it is.
Agreed.
Yeah. So anyhow, finish up on Bovino real quick. I do have one video of Bovino from.
At least most of the dicks.
Yep, you froze
up
again.
I came in way late. I said most jobs, the dicks don't have guns.
That is true. I don't know. I feel like it was Dave Chappelle. Somebody has a joke about, like, like, well, there's going to be a few bad apples. And it's like, you can't have a few bad apples. Like, I think the joke was about airline pilots. Like, well, of all of our pilots, we got a few bad apples. You can't, there's certain jobs where you can't have bad apples. Being
Yeah.
a cop, and I know it's impossible to get every single one, but you have to do everything you can to make sure that you're hiring people that are not on a power trip, not the high school bully or the kid that got picked on all the time that
Yeah.
now is looking to pick on somebody else. Like, you can't do that shit.
Yeah.
So, I do have Greg Bovino went on CNN this weekend. It's the only clip I have of Bovino, but I'd love to show it to you real quick. Check this out.
With respect, it feels as though in some ways you're blaming the victim here.
The victims are the Border Patrol agents. I'm not blaming the Border Patrol agents. The victim are the Border Patrol agents. The suspect put himself in that situation. The victims are the Border Patrol agents there.
Yeah. He needs to be prosecuted.
He's bad. And he did that interview, and then we went on all day Sunday and most of Monday. He was on Twitter or X, and every Fox News Republican senator, congressman that was tweeting, like saying, "Hey, this isn't cool. Something needs to be done." They weren't really calling for anybody to get fired, but they were showing that they weren't cool with the murder of Alex Preddy, and he was replying to all them and being ridiculous in the replies. Like, it was not a good look. And like a couple different times people were saying like they need to take his phone. Like, he's not helping right now. He's going after Republicans. This is not good. Caitlin Collins tweeted tonight that on top of him being fired, says per Priscilla Alvarez, DHS has suspended Gregory Bovino's access to his social media accounts effective immediately. He spent yesterday responding to people who were criticizing him and raising questions about unverified claims about Peretti. So not only did they remove him, demote him, they suspended his social media. So he did himself no favors. Like, this shooting was terrible, but had they all come out right afterward and said, "Hey, this is a tragic death. We are investigating. We have no further comment until we have all the facts," they could have all survived this, but they couldn't help themselves. And
Yeah.
that was their biggest. Killing somebody's obviously the biggest mistake, but their other biggest mistake was their reaction to it and how Trump's had their back throughout all this. So I think they just thought, we can lie, and Trump's going to have our back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think probably what really happened was the Second Amendment people were like, no, it was okay for him to have a gun there. Like, they're the Second Amendment people are definitely for people carrying guns.
Yeah. I have a clip on the Second Amendment thing real quick. Check this out. Here's Kash Patel on Fox, and then we'll talk about the Second Amendment.
As Kristi said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence. We will, of course, always protect your First Amendment speech. And if you peacefully protest, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you have seen a trend here, not just in Minnesota, but across the country, in these protests turning into violent scenarios and people attacking law enforcement. That's when you go over the line, and that's when law enforcement steps in.
I have not seen any protesters attack a law enforcement officer.
So I haven't seen any just walk up and start attacking. Now, I have seen after the scrum starts, after they try to take someone to the ground, where then they're fighting back. And there are some protesters that I think should be arrested. The night, I think it was Sunday night, it was about a dozen people. It wasn't a lot, but a dozen people figured out where ICE was staying in Minnesota and tried to break into the lobby, and they were breaking the glass, the front doors and all that, and trashing the lobby. Arrest those people. I mean, I get they're trying to harass ICE at their hotel, but like they destroyed property. Arrest those people. I have no problem with that. Most of the protesters know, and like you said, I haven't seen anybody just walk up and start attacking. So
that's what I'm saying. It's like, sure, if you break the law, you should pay the consequences. But I haven't seen too much of that.
Also, Cash said there that you just like Kristi said, you can't bring a gun to a protest. Bullshit. Second Amendment. You can bring a gun anywhere you want. He didn't brandish the gun. He didn't reach for the gun. If you remember, and I got some pictures of him here, there were all kinds of protests during the COVID time and during Biden where the right was protesting, and they were showing up with AR-15s on their chest and tactical vests. Like, if we're going to play by a set of rules, let's all figure out what the rules are, because MAGA the right was totally fine with that. Oh, what? It's the Second Amendment. But now you got a guy with a concealed carry inside the waistband who never even went for it, and that's not allowed. I'm sorry. This makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Carolyn Levitt also today had to open up the press briefing by being sure to tell everybody that President Trump does support the Second Amendment because he's been taking a lot of crap on that. So she made that point 2 or 3 times right off the bat today. And the reporters were like, okay, well, is he going to say something to correct, Kristi Noem and Kash Patel and all them? And he was just like, or she was like, well, no, but I'm saying it for him that he's for the Second Amendment. And it's like, bullshit. Like, anyhow, very upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see Trump he forgot the word Alzheimer's? He was talking about his dad and he was like,
hold
my
on.
dad, he had that thing. He points his forehead.
Hold on for that,
You got
because
that
that's
video?
coming. Okay, I got that coming. Real quick, we're gonna finish out on Minnesota real quick. Tim Walz called up the National Guard. We were talking about it last time. You had told me you had seen them, and they were wearing yellow reflective vests to differentiate themselves from ICE. I hadn't seen anything about that. But have you seen what Tim Walz has them doing there?
No, I haven't.
Dude, I don't even. I'll play it, and then we'll talk about it. Check this out.
Donuts, hot chocolate.
What are you guys giving out?
Coffee, donuts, hot chocolate.
And you're with the Minnesota National Guard?
Yeah, we are. Yes, we are.
Why was this important for you guys to do today?
It's a demonstration of safety and security. We're here to help.
Awesome. Thank you.
He's got the National Guard handing out hot chocolate, coffee, and donuts. They are there to keep the peace. They're not armed. They have reflective vests. They are there to make sure everybody stays safe. The tone has been perfect. A+ job by whoever. I don't know if Walz came up with that idea, but good job. That's how you do it. That is going to help bring peace.
And again, I don't think the ICE needs to be armed.
No, here's the thing. ICE, I said this last time, but if they were wearing jeans and a windbreaker and had like a single gun on their hip and a badge and no mask, this would all be going completely different than it's going right now.
No, they don't need guns at all. What do they need guns for?
Yeah, I'm sure that ICE, if you're truly going after the bad hombres, then you'd need a gun. I feel strongly on that one.
But they're not. That's the thing. They're not going after the bad hombres.
Okay, well, they're not. You're right. But if they were, the way I imagine ICE to be would be them going after the bad hombres and not tacked out. And if they do, if there's a situation where they think they need tactical stuff, then work with local law enforcement and get, a SWAT team there to help you. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, since you brought it up, let's talk about Trump's health real quick because this was quite hysterical. First of all, did you see Trump's left hand when he was in Davos?
Yeah, I saw somebody talking about it.
Okay, so up until now, his right hand has always been the bruised one. And what you remember the excuse they were given for why his right hand is always bruised?
Because he was shaking too many hands?
Because he's shaking too many hands. So his left hand now, check this bruise out.
Whoa.
That's a big old bruise on his left hand. Who shakes their hand?
That doesn't look good.
Who shakes with a left hand, right? So they asked him about this on the plane, and he said that he clipped the corner of a desk when he got to Davos, and that's what the bruise is from. Like, his hand, he was walking and his hand hit something. That's not a bruise from clipping the corner of a desk right there, buddy. He's got to be getting some kind of IV situation going on. Like I can't think what else it would be.
Yeah.
Unless Melania is like beating him.
Well,
it'd be kind of funny.
In his hand at this point, if they're taking so much flack for it, why wouldn't they just put some kind of port in his forearm or something?
I don't know. But anyhow, so that bruise happened at Davos, and everybody was a little concerned. And then,
so do you think he's just like rotting in real time?
I don't know. It's got to be.
Just rotting.
It's got to be the aspirin, and he keeps saying it's the aspirin. It's got to be. That's got to be part of it.
Well, the doctors are telling him not to take so much aspirin, but he's taking a shit ton of aspirin. Apparently,
he said that. He said that they tell me not to take the big ones. They want him to take the baby aspirin, but he's taking the big ones and against his doctor's order. So, but anyhow, so New York Magazine came out with apparently they sat down with did an interview with Trump, his doctors, his family, his cabinet, everybody you can think of. They did an interview with. First of all, The headline and the picture for it is classic. Check this out.
The superhuman president. That's
With him falling up the
pretty
stairs.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a good faith attempt to ascertain the truth about Donald Trump's health. Um, this was really interesting. So the guy that did the interview, it starts off this way. When Ben Terrace arrived at the Oval Office in December to talk to Donald Trump about his health, the president was standing next to a couple of men clutching pieces of paper labeled talking points. These two are doctors, Trump told Terrace. And by the way, I don't know them. They're not my best friends. They're respected doctors that practice out of Walter Reed, and they happen to be taking care of me for anything. But I don't need any taken care of because I'm in perfect health. He goes on from there. But the doctors were holding pieces of paper labeled talking points. That's not. I don't even know what to say about that. That's interesting.
Talking points.
And then,
I mean, we can't trust. It's interesting that we can't even trust the doctors.
you can't. And then this was the part you alluded to earlier. Trump said, at a certain age, about 86 or 87, my dad started getting, oh, what do they call it? And he points to his forehead as he's thinking. And then Carolyn Levitt pipes in and says, Alzheimer's? And he goes, yeah, like an Alzheimer's thing. Well, I don't have it. This explains why he's taken 3 cognitive exams this year. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, what are we gonna do, Andy?
We're going to try to
This guy.
survive. Try to survive the next 3 years. That's all you can do.
Yes.
Yeah, so the whole article was interesting. He claims that when he's in these long meetings, he likes to close his eyes so he can listen better, is what all the pictures of him falling asleep in the meetings. He also said that the meetings are boring as hell and almost 3 hours long. They're only that way because that's what people are doing because they think that's what he wants. Like, no other president did all these 3 hour long meetings where everybody praises him for the whole time. Like, this is a Trump thing. He doesn't have to do this.
No.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, 100%. They don't have to have these meetings at all. Stop going on TV, Trump.
He can't. He likes the spotlight, and he likes the whole nation to hear people telling him how great he is. So, anyhow, I got one other thing for tonight, and last time you told me that we probably shouldn't talk about this specific thing. It hurts us. It hurts us in the algorithm. And the thing is, so I don't know if you've seen, but TikTok, just in the past 2 days, I guess the new ownership of TikTok has taken over, and they are censoring a lot. Like, if the word Epstein is in anything, it's not getting views, like, at all.
Oh.
Like, 0 views. If you mention there's one country in the Middle East that's not like all the others. And if you mention that country almost at all, you get 0 views. Like, they don't pump it out to anybody. I'm not talking like low views. I'm talking 0 views. And
Really?
all these content creators are posting screenshots of it online. So the more that happens, the more that makes me want to talk about this country. Because if we say, hey, we better not talk about it, then they're winning, and I don't want to let them win. That's
what we've always made fun of China for, right? Is that they don't let certain news organizations into their country.
It's interesting because TikTok was more free when China owned it than now that an American owns it. Like, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
But okay, I think I might have already asked you this last time, but Trump just had the big signing for his the Trump Board of Peace. And all the original signatories of it were there for the signing, except for 2. Did I already ask you this question?
No.
Okay. So there were 2 that were not present for the signing. Do you have any guesses as to who they were and why they weren't there?
I don't even know who's on this board.
It's a whole bunch of countries from the Middle East and like former Soviet Union countries. No European. I think maybe Spain joined, but they were the only European country to do it.
So wait, we're teaming up with the Middle
picture,
East and Russia.
They did a picture on stage after they all signed it, and it was Trump and then a bunch of people you've never seen before. Like, it was, some of them were very weird looking dudes from small little countries, but you had to pay $1 billion up front to be part of the Board of Peace. So to join the Board of Peace, you have to donate $1 billion to Trump, and it's supposed to be for the Board of Peace, but nobody's really said, is that money going to Gaza? or where's that money going? Trump just has it now, I guess. It's at his discretion. This is the board, by the way, where Trump is the chairman and leader of the board for life, and when he dies, he gets to pick his replacement, and he's the only one that has veto power, so he fully controls this.
Hold on. Wait, $1 billion?
$1 billion to be on the Board of Peace.
Hold on. How many countries are on there?
19, I believe.
So Trump just inherited $19 billion?
Well, he didn't inherit it. He convinced a bunch of stupid countries to give him $1 billion. To be
I
on
fucking
his...
hate this. I fucking hate the Board of Peace.
Okay, back to my original question.
Fuck the Board of Peace.
The leaders of 2 countries could not attend for the signing. The reason they could not attend is because if they landed in Davos, Switzerland, they would promptly be arrested for international court warrants for their arrest. Can you guess the 2?
What's his name? The guy who killed Jamal Khashoggi and Putin.
No, wrong. He was there.
Oh, what? How was he there?
He was
What
there.
the fuck?
And
what is going on in the world?
You're talking about MBS,
MBS.
Mohammed bin Salman from Saudi Arabia. He was there. He was one of the 19.
Well, how did he get in there?
I don't think there's an ICC warrant for his arrest for some reason.
Okay.
It's an obvious. The first one's obvious. You should know this.
Yeah. The Dark Force.
Okay, so Mr. Netanyahu could not even attend Davos because then they said flat out he'll be arrested the second he lands if he comes here. So he did not go. The other one was President Vladimir Putin of Russia. They are both on the board, but for international court warrant reasons, they could not arrive in Switzerland. So I just thought that was funny that those are 2 of the members of the Board of Peace, and they have
2 of Trump's best friends.
Yeah. So speaking of one of those 2 leaders, there was an interesting thing that happened in Gaza, and interesting is not the right word. I don't know why I said that. But check out this video from this is from CBS. This is from Bari Weiss, who ran the Free Press and is a big supporter of one country in the Middle East. This is her new primetime anchor that is, supposed to be right-leaning and bring Republicans in that nobody seems to like so far. Here, listen to him tell what happened in Gaza.
Turning to one of the deadliest days in Gaza since October's ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, an Israeli airstrike today killed 3 journalists. Israel said it was targeting a group operating a drone affiliated with Hamas. One of those journalists, Abed Sha'at, has worked for CBS as a photographer. His colleagues described the 30-year-old as a brave person doing dangerous work. He was married just 2 weeks ago.
3 journalists murdered by the Dark Force.
Because, and he said they were operating a drone affiliated with Hamas, is what he said, okay?
Bullshit. This is all just bullshit.
So that is exactly what this country said. Their response was, oh, well, these 3 journalists must have been part of Hamas because they were operating a Hamas drone. Well, it turns out, and this was already public knowledge before CBS reported this, they chose to just leave this information out, I guess. But all 3 journalists were part of a charity foundation led by an Egyptian aid organization, and they were there with Israel's knowledge filming video of Gaza for this Egyptian aid organization. They had gotten all the correct paperwork. They had let them know what they were doing. They told them they were going to be flying a drone, and they went in there and did it, and Israel hit them with a missile. Probably a mistake. I don't think they did it on purpose, but they did it, and then they lie about it and say, oh, well, that was a drone affiliated with Hamas, and then CBS takes. He was freelance, so he did work for a lot of people, but he also did a lot of work for CBS. So he was one of their own photojournalists. They got blown up by a country in the Middle East, and CBS is just taking their talking points and running with it, and leaving out the fact that they knew damn well what he was doing there. A little frustrating, right?
Yeah. I don't think it was a mistake. I doubt it was a mistake.
I don't know. And the thing is,
late 2025 and early 2026 reports indicates that nearly 300 journalists and media workers have been killed in Gaza during the war, indicated on October 7th, 2023. So 300 journalists since October 7th, 2023 have been killed under Netanyahu's rule.
They were probably all Hamas. I mean, honestly. I'm joking. That's what that country would say. I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
With every one of those, they tried to say, "Oh, well, they were clearly Hamas." So, anyhow, let's take it a step further, real quick. I have a clip
I
here.
can't believe MBS was allowed in Davos. In
I'm
Switzerland.
pretty. Somebody fact check me on this. Comment if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was there, and he was one of the signers that was on stage. I'm pretty sure. Are you checking it out?
MBS in Davos. Yeah. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was not in Davos, Switzerland, but made a surprise appearance at the 2018 Davos in the desert. Yeah.
Hold on. So he wasn't at this year's one. Somebody was there that signed. Somebody was there that signed on behalf of Saudi Arabia because they're one of the countries in it.
Okay.
Does it say if he was there?
No indication. No, he wasn't there.
Okay, I stand corrected. Saudi Arabia was one of the 19 countries, so somebody from his administration went and signed. I don't know who it was.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyhow, take it a step further with this one country in the Middle East. This was I saw this clip. This is from Al Jazeera. For a long time, back in like the Iraq War days, I remember I'd see stuff from Al Jazeera, and I was like brainwashed into me that like, oh, that's the Muslim news. They're liars. You can't trust anything they say. Now that I'm a little bit older, I've seen like Al Jazeera is pretty well respected all across Europe. In America, we treat it like it's the enemy news.
Yeah.
I don't think they are. But here's a report from Al Jazeera real quick on I'm not going to say what it's on. Just check this out.
While each individual death is a tragedy in its own right, the scale of generational loss is hard to comprehend. You see, in the last 2 years, more than 2,700 families have been wiped off of Gaza's civil registry. At least 40,000 families have been targeted, and 6,000 families have been left with just a single sole survivor, erasing Palestinian bloodlines, the very essence of genocide.
Whoa.
2,700 bloodlines stopped. Entire
Crazy.
families. That's ridiculous. Like, that's... Okay. 6,000 families with only one surviving member of the family?
Yeah. This is crazy.
Yeah.
The whole world's gone to shit under Trump. The whole world's gone to shit under Trump.
I'm going to say the whole world was headed to shit for a while now. Like there's been a fun thing where I think we officially said it in 2020 where we're like 2020 finally ended and it's like thank God 2020's over. That sucked. Like next year's got to be better. And every year since it's like 2024 was rough. I hope 2025 is better. And no, they all keep getting worse. That's what our buddy Clint told me one time where I was like, man, this sucks. Like, I hope it gets, or I can't wait till next year. This year's been bad. And Clint told me, he's like, dude, it's not going up and coming down. This is a trajectory. We're heading in a path. And he said it, and I kind of hoped he was wrong at the time. And that was 6 years ago. And all the time I think about it, and I'm like, Clint was so right. Like, this is our trajectory. It's getting worse, and it's going to keep getting worse. And I don't see, and it doesn't, for this particular thing, Trump is one of the many problems going on, but he's not the only one. Like, if Trump's out of office, I don't think things are going to suddenly get better across the world. Like, we're headed to a shitty place. The destination sucks. I don't know any way to really course correct at this point.
Yeah.
Sorry for being...
Damn it, Andy.
Sorry for being doom and gloom, but, like, that's... I firmly believe that. It's not getting better. It's not going to get better.
Shit.
Yeah. What do we have to look for in the short-term future? AI is going to take all of our jobs.
Yeah.
What's that going to do to civilization, to the economy, everything? Like that's the next thing on the horizon. If we don't have a world war between now and then, which right now it doesn't look like we're going to have one. So
Russia's going to try and take over Europe.
Yeah, right.
Trump's going to try and take over Greenland.
Right now, the only reason I'm not worried about Russia trying to take over Europe right now is because everybody thought they could easily beat Ukraine, and they've been struggling in Ukraine for like 3 years now, and they've lost, I don't know how, more people than you can imagine. So suddenly the idea that they could easily take France and Germany and Europe, like that doesn't seem so easy anymore. Like it'd be a long, slow process, and Vladimir Putin is just willing to throw lives into the meat grinder and lose troops and doesn't bother him at all. So eventually, yes, but not easily. So anyhow, I've only got one other thing tonight, and then we're out of here. Trump tweeted this today, and I thought this was kind of comical. But Our trade deals are very important to America. In each of these deals, we have acted swiftly to reduce tariffs in line with the transaction agreed to. We, of course, expect our trading partners to do the same. South Korea's legislature is not living up to its deal with the United States. President Lee and I reached a great deal for both countries in July 30th, 2025, and we reaffirmed these terms while I was in Korea on October 9th, 2025. Why hasn't Korean legislature approved it? Because the Korean legislature hasn't enacted our historic trade agreement, which is their prerogative. I am hereby increasing South Korean tariffs on autos, lumber, pharma, and all other reciprocal tariffs from 15 to 25%. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I saw that, and it reminded me that just a couple days ago when Trump was in Davos, one of the EU's thing, the European Union, they were saying, well, hey, if he's going to do this Greenland thing, then we're not going to ratify the trade deal that we signed with him. And that was all the way back in like July that happened. And I was like, that never got ratified? That's weird. So I went and looked through. Trump claims to have 4 trade deals, okay? And I can't remember the countries.
Wait, what was the original deal? He was going to do 90 in 90 days?
90 in 90 days, okay? He has one with England, one with the European Union, one with South Korea, and one with Japan. Those are the ones that he says are signed and done. Like, they're done.
Okay.
It turns out none of those have been signed, voted on, or enacted, like, at all. Like, he says, he basically, when he gets a framework of a deal, he goes out and celebrates and says, we've completed the deal. And it's like, no, there's like, even his board of peace, going back to that, like, for that to, because the way he chartered it is in a certain way to where, like, he's an idiot. If he could have done it a couple different ways and not had this happen, but he chartered it in a certain way to where, okay, it's a treaty that America is entering into. Any treaty that America enters into, the Senate has to ratify it by a 2/3 vote. So 2/3 of the Senate has to ratify this, and they're not gonna. So his board of peace is not going to be recognized by the United States, and our president's going to be the head of it.
Well, he's going to live in Saudi Arabia anyway. It doesn't matter.
I think he is. I think he's going to live in Saudi Arabia or that one other country in the Middle East. That that one.
No, he's got his Trump. What was it called? Trump Saudi.
Yeah, the Trump's. I forgot all about that video.
Yeah, I think he's planning on booking it as soon as he gets kicked out of Austin. He's just going to book it to Saudi Arabia, and he's going to live the rest of his days. And I don't think his kids mind. I think his kids are like, fine. They have tons of money down there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Get away with whatever they want.
He loves Mar-a-Lago so much, so I think that he would have to get like run out of Mar-a-Lago. I think that that's the place he would retreat to, but I think he'd rather stay at Mar-a-Lago. He loves that place.
Well, he's building Mar-a-Lago in Saudi Arabia.
That's true. Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. We got 3 years to go, and then we'll figure out what he's up to. Hey, real quick, I didn't have this on my list, but talked about the shutdown last time and how we potentially have a government shutdown coming up Friday. Today, remember how I told you I was like, starting Monday, this is going to be all over the news? Well, it was. The news was definitely aware that the shutdown's probably going to happen now. The way it's setting up, it's going to be a messaging battle again. It's a matter of which side can win the messaging battle. This is the Democrat strategy, and if they can pull it off, then kudos. I don't trust that. Chuck Schumer being in charge of messaging scares the crap out of me. But they're going to take the side of, we will fund the entire government except for DHS. Separate these bills, and we will fund everything else. We will only fund DHS if you guys agree to do certain things. Body cameras on all the Border Patrol and ICE officers is one thing I've heard, and no masks. Those seems to be the 2 asks that they would want, which seem pretty reasonable. And most of America, like 60% of America, is in agreement on that. Okay,
yeah.
So and they're going to be supposedly they're going to be very loud and open, like, we are willing to fund all the rest of the government. There's no need for there to be harm on anybody else. We're just going to not fund this one until you guys agree to do these things.
They need to be very, very loud about this.
They're going to try to force the the Republicans to basically take the position of, we are going to shut down the government unless Democrats agree to fund DHS without any changes to ICE, which right now that's a toxic position to have. Okay. So that's their goal, is to box the Republicans in to where they can say the Republicans are the ones shutting down the government. They're going to shut down the government unless we agree to give all this money to ICE, who won't even take their masks off or wear body cams. It's a smart, like, I like it on paper. I like it on paper. I don't trust several Democrat senators to pull this off. I hope I'm wrong.
Yes. Yeah. I will see what their messaging is, but the messaging with the healthcare scared me a little bit. You got Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries who just have no good messaging skills out there spewing shit. And I'm glad you brought this up because I got super curious about the House.
Okay.
After they take like a 2-week recess after working every week, right?
Yep.
And so I looked it up and all right, there's 52 weeks in a year. If you work 3 days a week, that's 156 days you have to work.
Okay.
In 2026, they're scheduled to work 124 days.
Okay.
In 2025, they worked 117 to 125. 2024 was 134. 2020 they don't work much more than 100 days a year. So they're basically working. They're basically working two to 2.5 days out of the week.
So, okay, history lesson time. So that what it is the Constitution was written 250 years ago, and a lot of shit's changed, and we haven't updated the Constitution during that time. We really need to update some shit. Okay, the way that it was originally designed is people were riding back and forth to D.C. on horseback. It would take them a couple of weeks to get back and forth to D.C. depending on what state you're in, and your representatives, if they're in Washington all year long, how do they know what the people back home want? So it was designed that way to where they would spend 2/3 of the year at home in their district talking to their constituents, and then they would ride to DC a couple times a year to take these votes and then go back to be with their people and be talking to them. That was the original intent of it. Okay, well, now we have we have email and Zoom and all different ways you can communicate with your senator or your congressman. I think they should definitely be back home doing town halls. None of them. The thing is, when they're not working, they're not out in their community meeting the people and doing town homes and all that, or town halls. Like, they're not doing that. They're on vacation, or they're getting trips from lobbyists and whatnot. We need to update shit. They need to be working a lot more, and there needs to be rules where, like, if you're a member of the House, you have to hold at least 3 town halls a year or something along those lines. You need to be talking to your constituents. So many
the
of them
Republicans aren't doing any town halls anymore.
No, the ones that are doing tele-town halls, and they try to sell it where they're like, oh no, we're using this wonderful machinery we have, and we're doing teletown halls. Well, what happens in those though is they have people pre-screen the callers before they get to them, so they never get the bad questions, and that's it's a smart way to shield them from having to answer a question that maybe would not be good for them to answer. So they do these teletown halls that are totally screened.
Totally. I've seen my representative twice in the last 2 years, and it's at the Chamber of Commerce meetings, and she comes in, she makes a speech, and then she leaves. She doesn't stick around. She doesn't answer questions. She doesn't really talk to anybody. She just speaks to you for like a quick 5 minutes, and then she's gone.
Yeah, it's like I said, we're not in 1776 anymore. We need to adjust this, and we just need to make them work. The fact that they work 1/3 of the year is ridiculous. Like, get to work, guys.
Yeah, do something.
And that's what there was a Republican, because Democrats want to separate all 6 spending bills or put into one thing that they have to vote on. They want to separate them into 6 individual bills and pass 5 of them, but not pass the DHS one. And there was a Republican that went on Fox News, I think it was today, and he was like, okay, they need to separate them, and if they separate them, we will all come back to work, and we can vote on them all individually, blah, blah, blah. Let's fight it out over DHS. A Republican said this, and then Mike Johnson came out not very long later and said, no, we are off this week. We already did our job. It's up to them now to pass. If the Democrats want to shut down the government, then that's their prerogative, but we did our job. So it's like, no, you could come back to work. This whole thing where we package things together and make it an omnibus spending bill, stop that shit. Let's pass however many individual spending bills are needed for the different agencies. It's more than 6. Right now they're trying to do 6. But individual. We should vote on everything individually. Shouldn't be able to package anything together.
Yeah. What was the term? Earmarks? All these earmarks and pig fat, or what is it called?
Pork. I can't think. There's a name for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
They just throw shit in there and hope nobody else reads it. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Well, and they do it in really strategic ways where, like, if they're trying to get a lot of times they stick stuff in there that's not super controversial, but it could never pass on their own. So they'll stick it in another bill that has a lot of support. And that way, like, let's say it's a bill to fund child cancer research or something like that. But then they'll slip in a couple unpopular things with it. And if you vote no because of those unpopular things, then they'll go, next time you're up for election, they'll be like, he voted against a bill for child cancer research. And it's like, no. He voted against all the other things in that bill. But that's how they do it, to where it's like they're basically daring you. Like, I dare you to vote against this. The headline on this bill is something that will hurt you if you don't vote for. So I dare you not to vote for it. Try.
Yeah.
Good luck explaining yourself.
Yeah, they definitely need to split everything up and vote on everything individually.
Yep. If they did that, they might have to work more than 125 days a year.
Oh no.
Yeah, tough shit. Get to work. Like,
Yeah.
That's what
we're
kills me.
paying your fucking salaries. Work for us.
Dude, there's so many times where, like, I follow a guy named Jake Sherman on Twitter who covers the House, and he'll be like, on a Monday morning, he'll be like, busy week for the House this week. They have 7 votes lined up, and it's like, so they should be able to do that in an hour. Like, how many like, what are we? Okay, they're gonna spread out 7 votes over these 5 days, and I hope they have time to get all 7 of them.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Anyhow,
it's total bullshit.
Yeah. So we'll see. We're heading to, next time we talk, it'll probably be, the focus of it will be like, oh my God, I think the government's about to shut down. Like that's where we're heading next.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yep. Once again, we shut down the government.
Yep. Oh, and by the way,
our politicians do not work for us anymore.
No, and also the dollar, over the past year, the dollar has been crashing, but this week it's gone down a lot more, and the price of gold just hit an all-time high. So people are fleeing from the dollar and investing in gold, because that's supposed to be the safest thing you could do in times of economic uncertainty. So that's another thing. That's the way that's going to affect us, is when we have to refinance our debt, which we have to do here any month now. We're going to be doing it at a higher interest rate. It's going to suck. That's all I'm going to say. So good job. The economy's doing great. No.
Go America.
Yep. That's all I got. Yeah, Bovino's gone. Let's just take the little wins we can. Bovino's gone.
Who's next? Come on. Get somebody else out there.
It needs to be Stephen Miller or Kristi Noem is who it needs to be.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be. Like, I could see it potentially being Kristi Noem at some point. It'll never be Stephen Miller. We're stuck with Stephen Miller. So
that's the most unfortunate thing.
His wife's a total idiot too. I'm going to say this last thing. Somebody tweeted out that they were like, I wish you remember the tweet. They called themselves a classical liberal. I'm in favor of classic liberal democracy, is what they said. And she was like, oh, he's admitting right here to being a liberal. And she's an idiot, because classical liberal democracy is basically our government. It doesn't mean liberal the way that everybody else applies liberal. And she saw, and then everybody was slam dunking on her for the rest of the day. And they're like, this dumb bitch doesn't know what liberal democracy is. Anyhow, it made me laugh so hard. And she went silent on Twitter after that. I was hoping she was going to start responding to people. Been quiet all day since then. So
good.
Stephen Miller and his wife need to leave in
the country.
Yeah.
Go to Trump, Saudi Arabia.
He's going to be attached to Trump's hip for life. Like, wherever Trump goes after this, Stephen Miller's going to be right there. I can tell you right now. Those two are, yeah. So, and it's because even after Trump leaves office, he's going to have power. He's going to be a kingmaker. He's going to have a lot of sway in the Republican Party.
I don't think so. We'll see after this election. I don't think so.
We'll see. I don't know. But that's what Stephen Miller's counting on. And as long as Trump has power, Stephen Miller will be there to pull the strings. So
Stephen Miller will have power. Yeah.
Yep. So, all right, man. Good luck on the shutdown this week. We'll talk in a couple days.
Sometimes you eat the bar. Sometimes the bar eats you.